Welcome to the front squat basic video. Just going to roll through our setup and things that we want to look for with our front squat. So very first thing we're going to do to set up is going to be our grip and our height. So important with the J hooks, where the bar sits in, I want them roughly at about armpit height. That way when I take my bar up, I'm taking it up and out, and then I'm going to be placing it down. It's a lot easier than if you've got a heavy weight and you're trying to lift it up and tippy toe it on. Secondly, hands basically are going to be outside of shoulders. So everyone's going to be slightly different. For me, I'm a little bit wider, but you want them so that they're on the outside of the shoulders so that when you come through into that front rack, your hands are clear and you can help get those elbows up. So a major thing I see with people front squatting is they try and keep their shoulder blades pinned back, and it's really going to limit how high you can get those elbows, which you want to be able to come around to help bring that bar up onto the front of the shoulders. So as I'm coming into my front squat, I'm reaching forward a little bit, and that's going to help me come up into that front rack. Once I'm on there, I want to be able to hold that bar on the front of the shoulders. Starting out can be a little bit hard. It's not something we do every day. So it does take a little bit of time to develop the skill of getting those elbows up and building on that. If you find that it is really hurting your wrists, you can also come back to a genie position as well and front squat like that. However, if you have a barbell sport and you're into Olympic weightlifting and things, you will need to develop the front rack, and it is also good to develop in general as a skill. In terms of setup now for squatting, when I take up the bar, don't end up taking this massive walk back, because then you just have to walk back in, especially doing heavy sets. You just want to be close enough that if you come out of the bottom of the squat and you can't, you need to be able to drop it down and forward, but not so much that you're going to bang straight into the rack, but you also don't want to take so much energy by walking in and out with that front squat as well. So generally 2 steps back is a good starting point for your front squat. With front squatting, the main thing that I look for in terms of setup, especially with the ribs and the pelvis, is relatively neutral through here. So I don't want to be too extended through here, and I don't want to be too compressed down through the front. If I'm too compressed through the front, the bar naturally is already wanting to fall forward. It's going to be even harder to hold that bar. If I'm too far back here, I just end up with a lot of compression in that lower back. So you want to try and find that sweet point in the middle so that as you squat, you can maintain that roughly nice neutral pelvis. There is going to be movement through the pelvis and the ribs, and that's fine. But we also want to try and set up in a good position just from the start. In terms of squat width, it depends on everyone's hips and their ability and their ankles for what depth they're trying to achieve, and also the context. So for Olympic lifting, you have to get into a very deep front squat, where other people it may not matter because they're not doing Olympic lifting, and just getting to parallel is fine. So for me, I set up slightly toes out, and then I want to break at the hips and knees at the same time so that I'm sinking down between my feet. That way I can drive up nice and tall. If I start with a big hip hinge backwards, that bar's sitting on the front, and if I want to start that squat, now it's going to be wanting to tip down and out like that. So I want to be able to maintain that upright position and just sitting straight down and up in that front squat. Again, everyone's toes are going to be a little bit different. Some people like to have them further out, some people a bit more train track, and your width is going to be dependent on you. So find something that's comfortable, that's going to allow you to get into that deep squat position. So with the front squat, nice big elbow scoop under, bars on the front, coming far enough back, getting set, and then I'm going to go into my squat. So when it's really heavy and we want to focus on that bracing, I want to take a nice big breath full of air into this stomach, and then I want to engage my abs around it to create basically a nice strong canister in the middle here. So taking that big deep breath in, brace around it, again trying to maintain that neutral pelvis. A lot of people, sometimes when I see them, they take this big deep breath in and they end up in this massive flared position. So we try not to do that with the brace, but you want to keep that. That is also going to be nice and strong, and that's going to help that compression of the front and wanting to drop the bar out of it. So for those wanting to get into the deep front squat but struggle a little bit with range, we can make a little simple modification that's going to allow you to get deeper into that squat. And that simply is just popping some plates under the heels. And then you're going to squat from there. So the idea behind that is taking my knee over toe into that dorsiflexion is from there to there. So essentially my shin is straight over the ankle. Once I put that on a plate, my shin is now starting behind. So then I have that extra range of motion to get all the way down. And hopefully you'll be able to see this with my squat. Even for me, it makes my life a lot easier. And if you've ever seen someone with Olympic weightlifting shoes with a big heel platform, that's the concept and that's where it stems from. So that's